Hello, everyone, and welcome to Employer Perspectives webinar series. And today's webinar is called Unlocking the Secrets of Talent Retention, a Game Changer for Business Excellence. Employers Perspectives, the webinar series is brought to you by the Immigrant Employment Councils of Canada and New Canadians TV Network. And today's webinar specifically is in collaboration with the New Brunswick Multicultural Council. I'm your host, Gerard Kalajian, and I'm delighted to welcome the moderator of today, Srishti Panta, project lead from New Brunswick Multicultural Council. Before handing over to Srishti, I'll just remind everyone who has joined us today or who's watching us on YouTube that you can type any questions you have to our panelists, either in the Q&A tab on Zoom, if you've joined through Zoom, or in the chat box on YouTube, and we'll forward them to the panelists who will answer them during the discussion. As I mentioned, today's topic is unlocking the secrets of talent retention, a game changer for business excellence, as retaining top talent can significantly impact productivity, innovation, and the overall performance of any organization. So today's panelists in the discussion, they will explore the pivotal role of leadership in retaining talent, and also they will share proven strategies and best practices. Welcome to our discussion, Srishti and our panelists.
Thank you, Gerald. Welcome to our webinar on unlocking the secrets of talent retention, a game changer for business excellence. In this session, we will delve into why talent retention transcends HR function to become a pivotal game changer for sustained success. We will uncover how retaining top talent can elevate productivity, foster innovation, and bolster overall organizational performance. Join us as we navigate through the key facets of talent retention. Throughout this webinar, we will identify the common challenges organizations encounter in retaining their best and brightest, from cultivating a conducive workplace culture to facilitating robust career development paths. We will dissect the factors shaping employee satisfaction and retention. We also explore real-world case studies of organizations successfully implementing talent retention initiatives and gain inspiration from their journeys and understand applicable strategies tailored to organizational context. Let us welcome our four panelists. Aman, Chawla, Workforce Development Coordinator at Ignite; Shirley Mitchell, Manager of Human Resources and Quality Systems at Coast Tire and Auto Service; Matt Sabulescu, Executive Director of Periscope; and Muriel Berdat, Executive International Recruitment Counselor at Comfort Life Network Nursing Homes. Without losing our time, I would like to ask Aman, in your role as a Workforce Development Coordinator, can you please share a specific instance where effective leadership played a key role in retaining top talent, and what lessons can other organizations learn from that experience?
Thank you, Srishti, for this question. Firstly, a strong leadership plays a very crucial role in retaining top talent in any organization. It is, for any organization, the most important asset is its workforce. If I say in tech terms, it is the man or woman behind the machine and not the machine. In today's dynamic work culture, creativity, innovation, degree of freedom are more sought after by employees rather than just salary and designation. Intangible satisfaction plays a major, if not equal, role than tangible benefits, especially after COVID era, which resulted in hybrid and blended working styles. We all know that how labor and budget intensive a recruitment process is to get the right talent, not just for the fit for the job, but fit for the culture as well. It costs a lot of money to hire and train new employees, and it can take a lot of time for the new employees to become productive. In competitive markets, where poaching and aggressive headhunting is a common phenomenon, by rival organizations. Strong leadership takes proactive measures to retain top talent. Without naming my colleague in my organization, and who is a star performer and an invaluable member of our team, she has been retained in our organization for a very long time, in spite of us being a not-for-profit, and that's why the salaries are not very high. It is visible that our leadership has made efforts to understand her aspirations, career, and personal goals, acknowledging her contributions, expressing genuine appreciation for her dedication, and emphasizing her role in shaping the organization's future has played a much bigger impact than giving her monetary incentives. I can see commitment by our leadership team for the ongoing support and opportunities for professional growth, which outlines a clear pathway to lead and to grow in the organization. So I can see how she is retained in our organization by various such means. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aman. It is really great to learn about the Ignite and how people are retained in Ignite with such a good example. Okay, I would like to move to Surly. Surly, it is obvious that managing human resources and quality systems require a keen understanding of talent dynamics. Can you highlight a successful strategy or practice you have implemented at Coast Tire and Auto Service to enhance talent retention?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'd like to say that the approach that I have taken for Coast Tire as a small and medium employer with multiple locations spread across 3 provinces has actually been a personalized approach. Any of the newcomers that we have hired, we work with them and try to find out where the gaps are. For example, we hire a lot in the trades, so we hire a lot of international students. And we also realize they don't have the tools. So we have a tool allowance program where we're trying to, again, try to increase retention. So if we basically outfit them with a toolbox and $5,000 worth of tools, basically, and if they stay, they can purchase that for $1 after 5 years, which basically takes them to full journey person status if they were to get their license in Canada. And if they decide to leave, well, there's no liability. We just keep it and we would pass it on to the next apprentice coming in. Because again, we know that that would be a challenge for newcomers coming in. We've done lots of different things, whether it's buying them footwear because they need to have, the proper safety footwear, the clothing as well. Another thing that we do, because it's important to go to school and finish your education. So a lot of these international students, we would say to them, we will pay your tuition up front, and then we'll let them pay that back through payroll deduction so that they can get government credits for that, right? Rather than it being a taxable benefit. I help very hands-on with the process of getting through apprenticeship, what they have to do to register, who they have to talk to. Also do the same thing because we are AIP designated in the Maritime provinces. So I spend a lot of time helping newcomers navigate that process as well. Language training, for example, we have a Ukrainian family in Moncton, and again, because language for refugees is a little bit more of an issue than international students, so we're working on language training there. We've helped with accommodations. We just brought two gentlemen from out west that are from India with the skill set that we want, and we had to put them up for 2 whole months until they could find accommodations. But we were willing to pay for that because their skill set is so important, and they're just wonderful gentlemen. So I can tell all kinds of good stories, but it really is that personalized touch. Now, maybe bigger organizations, that's more difficult, but for small, medium employers, I think it's key to retention, because if they feel like they belong, they feel like they matter, and they feel like they have a voice and that they're safe and people are willing to help them, I think that's what helps. We don't always have the success of keeping them, but, because some will get their permanent residency and move to another location, but that's okay. I think we still did our job of helping them become a resident of Canada.
That's awesome, Surly. You were always excited to help them, and then after they always get help, and I have never seen you like I have faced this problem and you stay back and then after do not perform any kind of measures towards that. You are always proactive to do that. It may be the reason that people who came to work for you, they always want to stay with you, but sometimes circumstances change and they leave. But thank you so much for sharing all those
You're welcome. And the positive outcome from that is that they're bringing more workers to us. So the people that are, so our retread plant, we've got a crew of Filipinos up there, which is fantastic. That's been growing. Down in Nova Scotia, we have a group of Indian people it's increasing all the time. And so we're getting some really good representation, which is fantastic.
Thank you so much, Shirley. I would like to move to Matt. Matt, as a social entrepreneur, how do you balance fostering innovation while ensuring the retention of key talents? Could you share any example where leadership played a crucial role in maintaining a culture of innovation and retaining top performers?
For sure. Yeah. Thank you very much, Srishti. I really appreciate the opportunity of joining you today. Periscope has had the opportunity to work with a number of organizations in the last year in Canada and the United States. And we found that there's a similar theme when it comes to striking a balance between encouraging innovation and retaining important talent. What we found is that organizations are seeking sustainable growth and success through innovation, and by ensuring that their environment it's one that fosters creativity, while at the same time also risks are being embraced and new ideas are encouraged from their team members. Overall, we found that in order to create a culture that celebrates and rewards innovation while also recognizing and valuing the contributions of key talent, it's important to establish clear pathways for recognition and investment of employees, especially employees who demonstrate innovative thinking and contribution to the organization's mission and success. We also found that fostering open communication channels is important, encouraging dialogue between leadership and the team members. It's really important in retaining key talent for those organizations. It's also important too, because this gives stakeholders within the organization a voice in shaping the direction of where the organization is going. Found it that it's leadership by taking proactive steps by offering regular feedback sessions, can be one-on-one meetings or town hall meetings, brainstorming sessions. They really are valuable by providing the insight into creating that necessary culture to keep talent. At the same time, too, found that maintaining competitive benefits and compensation packages is really crucial too for retaining top talent, especially in today's competitive market. But also being mindful too that while monetary rewards are important, it's also the non-monetary incentives that are really important to team members these days. So it can be incentives such as flexible work arrangements, so it can be hybrid work arrangements or work remotely, recognition programs that we did in the organizations, and also ensuring too that coming back to the mission of the organization and reemphasizing, the meaningful work and the impact that team members have on their day-to-day that they have. Last but not least, I just wanted to place there that, it's fostering an environment that focuses on diversity and inclusion is really important for employers as well, for the team members. It's really embracing these DEI perspectives and experiences. Our organization can really bring forward creativity. They can drive innovation, and definitely they can attract, a pool of talent. It's because these type of initiatives, sometimes they do go beyond the internal work the organization does. It's they're being represented to the community, and it does really help, to engage also with external stakeholders.
Thank you so much, Matt. Do you also think that providing more opportunities and responsibilities to the employees and trusting what they are doing and what innovation they are welcoming in the organization can help more in retention related stuffs?
Yes, I definitely think so, because it's really creating, it's showing that, it's a healthy work environment, and it shows the employees that, they have the psychological safety net, in order to be themselves at work, in order to bring their full selves into their work every day. And that really allows employees in order to excel and to be proactive into thinking about innovative ways in order to improve their roles or to improve the organization's work that's being done.
Thank you so much, Matt, for sharing your experience as well as sharing the leadership point of view, how we can innovate the retention related stuffs. Okay, I would like to move to Muriel. Muriel, working in international recruitment, what unique challenges and opportunities do you see in talent retention?
Well, first of all, thanks everybody for being here. I'm really happy to share, and I'm always happy to share whatever we do about newcomers and labor and all that. So what kind of challenges? The main challenge is going to be that we need to think ahead. What does that mean? It means that we are not going to select candidates the way we would do with locals. So with locals, you have a chart, they have to have a certain kind of diplomas. This is what your candidates are going to be. And this is how you go. They qualify, they don't. You do an interview. It goes, it doesn't go, references, it works. Well, with foreign and newcomers and immigration, it's a total different story, because the main challenge is, how is the full family, if there is a family, how are they going to fit in? Do they have any information about where we are and what we do? I mean, in Brunswick, if anybody wants a big city, they're not going to come to New Brunswick. So how much do they know? What did their spouse do? Is the spouse, has the spouse the capacity to find a job? Do they, I don't know, but some jobs in New Brunswick, we all know we're bilingual. So some jobs like admin are going to require to be bilingual. If we want to hire someone as a resident attendant or as a nurse, and the spouse, is only Francophone, it's not going to work, because he's going to struggle or she's going to struggle to find a job. So preparing people, what about the kids? If they have babies, are they going to do they know that daycare is really hard to find for kids below 2 years old? Do they have that kind of information? So getting it out there is, is a challenge, because of course, sometimes we have very good candidates, but they might be really awesome in a couple of years to come, but right now they might not be mature enough in their process of immigration to be able to come and actually adapt. So that's one of the main challenges. Now, the opportunities we have, they're really great, because along the years, we're able to learn, because we've been doing that for a lot of years. Just last year, we hired about 138 people, and about 35 have arrived. So we're getting to learn, but what is really fun is, even if, again, we are truthful, you don't come here, you're a nurse in your country, you don't come here, I cannot hire you as a nurse. You have to start with a PSW, a resident attendant position. But being able to lay it out clearly to them makes a huge difference. And when they come here, we're able to support the path for them to, become a nurse, an LPN again, or whatever. And again, as Shirley was saying, it's all about personal, giving information, connecting them. It's not only saying, okay, this is how you do it, just write to them and send them an email, and they'll know we have the information. Of course, it takes time. We're nonprofit. We don't have tons of people on our team. So I like to say that we always get very creative once you're a nonprofit. So yeah, it's a good opportunity, and it's a win-win, because they start as PSWs, then we take them to where they want to go, and then we keep them. So that is a real nice factor of retention. Also, we were able to see that according to the country they're coming from, some materials, some stuff, some techniques, some are very different. So we were able to set up a room where they can practice with, a puppet or whatever it is. But and then a lot of our employees and managers and leaders are helping, giving their time to say, okay, you don't know, you're studying this, you're doing this. Okay, let me show you so you can do it the first time. It's a win-win at the end of the day.
Thank you so much, Muriel. We have already talked so much about the retention, hiring, accessing the talent related stuffs, like not in the webinar, but outside also. And you have such a good knowledge in all those areas that I'm really thankful that you joined today. And then after share all the challenges and opportunity that you have seen in the international recruitment. Okay, I have two questions that is for everyone. Anyone can jump in and answer. How do you measure the success of your talent retention initiatives? We think as an organization that we want to retain, and we may probably retain some of them as well. But how do we measure the success of talent retention initiatives?
I'll go first, Shirley. Mine is actually quite easy because where we are in the trades, we are bounded by provincial certifications. So one of the things that we do, like I said, I don't let money to be the reason for someone not to continue their education. So, the students that we're hiring from NBCC have to work for a year and a half before they can proceed to their next level of training, and whatever we need to do to make that happen, getting their books or whatever. We also are a tire company first and foremost, and although tire work is not a certified trade for training and qualifications for certification, but we actually do training. We are a member of the Tire Industry Association. We have certified instructors. So we believe we train on everything, right from a small little tire right up to a big mine tire. So there's lots of training that is available. We also have lots of access to other training. That's just on just personal development and whatnot through different marketplaces and whatnot. So kind of like my recruitment strategy, I fish at every hole. It's kind of the same idea. We try to give and a lot of it is online because we are logistically challenged. But like, for example, this year I'm going around to every single location and doing a staff meeting where I get to meet with every location and every employee and just bring them up to date on things that very personal a touch in that particular sense. So, and I think it's important that they have the pathway. I agree with Muriel 100%. If you have somebody that's coming into your organization entry level, and that's what I do when I talk to the students that are, in the motive power trade, get your foot in the door, and I tell them how to do that, and then how they can proceed to the next level, and then how they can proceed to one of 3 different areas, so I lay that out for all of the, students or newcomers that are, applying for work at Coast Hire, because if they can see an opportunity for a pathway forward, then they may actually want to stay with your organization. But if they see, well, this is the only job I'm ever going to get and I can't advance, then that may not be as attractive to that individual. So I think it's important to lay that type of information out, because again, I believe there's 2 types of workers. I say in the box and out of the box. The ones that just want to come to work, do their job, they don't want any extra responsibility, but then they're the ones that do want to grow. They do want that extra responsibility. How are you going to find that out? You have to have those personal conversations.
So in Ignite, what I've seen in a very short time, I'm a newcomer to Canada, in fact, tomorrow I'll be completing 1 year in Canada. So yeah, so we have this process of 30, 60, 90 days of planning. So last year in December, we sat for our pillar and we decided, okay, what are our KPIs for the next 30 days and 60 days and the next 90 days. And then we make it for quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we decide our own KPIs, and through data and metrics, which we keep on updating for our board package, we measure whether that particular workforce has been able to justify what their targets were. Usually, human resource professionals measure employee engagement through surveys, connection with their colleagues and their within the organization, and it's the same case with us as well. There is always a continuous communication between the directors and the workforce to engage what are their aspirations, where they are lacking, whether they want to move to another role. And I think all these parameters help in gauging an employee's satisfaction and their ability, and also helps us in talent retention.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Aman. Anyone wants to
Yes.
share more insight in this question?
Yes, so as it was mentioned by both Shirley and Aman too, just found that working with employers, found that the focus on having conversations with the team members is really important. And it's important to do it at the right time, not to wait until it's too late and you have to have an exit interview. Technique that's been adopted by some of the employers that have been advising at Periscope was to conduct stay interviews. So this goes outside of just having the regular job performance reviews done, but having a meeting with a manager or supervisor, we're discussing, why is the reason that person stays with the organization, understanding their why, and also opportunity for the employer and the organization to discuss, what is it, re-emphasizing the why of the value that the team member brings to the mission of the organization. This really has helped with the turnover that has been affecting some organizations too. And it was incredible just by soliciting this feedback from the current employees. It really offered the opportunity to gain insight into their motivations, and also learning about their concerns they might have in terms of the work that they do, and also understanding sometimes some personal concerns that affect them outside of work, and how those concerns might be affecting them to think about switching employers.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Well, we started almost a year ago to have meetings once a month. I call them the safe place. So they're for newcomers for sure, but not only. It could be attended by anybody, local here, who's been working here for 20, 25 years, managers, no managers. The only rule is anything that is said here stays here. No names, no. So why do we do that? Because I want them to have, if we want to improve what we do, how we do it, our onboarding, or how do we help them, and how do we help the locals understand what's going on and how it works, they need to be able to speak. And as you guys know, newcomers are always, they're always saying everything's fine, I'm happy, everything's fine. Okay, but if I don't know how to, and this is what Matt was saying, I mean, if I don't know, if you don't communicate on both sides, actually, what is maybe misunderstood, maybe a cultural problem, maybe God knows, but if we don't know, how do we, change it? How do we, and it's nice to be brainstorming, and it could be anything. It could be work related, it could be family related, the kids, the food, where do I find this? So, and to be honest, we started with like 2 people attending. Then on another session, we had 3, and last week I had 14. So it's really picking up, and it's fun to do. And this is how we measure also the retention, is the fact that, like Shirley was saying, I mean, they're sending us friends and they're sending us people they worked with. So, for me, it speaks for itself. You don't want to recommend a place to work if you're not happy and if you're not going to stay.
That's what I'm hoping anyway.
Thank you so much, Muriel. I want to go back to Aman and ask one question with example. In your experience at Ignite, how do you approach the delicate balance between professional growth opportunities and the retention of skilled employees? Any specific example of best practices that you can highlight from Ignite and your experience?
Well, I can give my own example. As I mentioned earlier, it's just been 10 months that I will be completing Ignite. and will be completing a year in Canada tomorrow. So within a short span of time, my skills, which were transferable skills, because I didn't study in Canada, I studied and worked in India. I served in military, in Navy in India, and then I came here. So my organization valued my transferable skills and gave me the opportunity to help the community in terms of providing connector program and job employment opportunities. And so within a short span of time, my organization trusted me, and they gave me opportunity to travel places and travel, meet with new people, learn, like just by giving them opportunity to become a part of this panel and listening to other panelists who have been stalwarts in their own journeys is like a professional development to me. I recently visited Ottawa for a workforce development conference where I met so many individuals who are working in this field for so long. And for me, it was a very it was a big change experience for me, because I've never worked in such a profession. But giving me that opportunity to travel, to meet with new people, to learn and implement the same in our community helps me a lot. Next month I'm traveling to Montreal, and I will be presenting in front of the audience about the way our organization is helping in talent retention in Fredericton and in the region. And I visited Halifax. I was called at Moncton to speak on how do we create and bring more connectors to our program. I went to Halifax and shared the best practices we do in Ignite. So I am the prime example of that how a newcomer, a new employee has been entrusted with all these things to learn and implement the same in their organization.
That's perfect. Ignite is really good in doing that, and then after I'm really glad that you are getting so much opportunities in connecting. And another reason I find that you are getting all the opportunities and all, it is because you are so proactive in so many things, and you yourself want to learn from a lot of things. It may be the inspiration from yourself as well that have provided you more opportunities and more platform to entirely innovate new things as well as know new people.
If I may add, as you said, I had that fire in me, but identifying and channelizing that energy into a right direction was very important. Also, since I was in military and I knew that one day I have to go to corporate, I prepared myself for this big transition from military to corporate. And so I did a lot of certifications. I did a lot of sessions on networking, on LinkedIn, on how to, communicate with more people. And I think that part of me, in which I was an under trainee, helped me to do the same and help others. So it was my journey which is helping me to help in journeys of other people. Thank you.
That's for sure. Thank you, Aman, for your experience. And then it is the best example I have ever heard in transition now from professional growth opportunities to the retention related stuff. Thank you so much. I would like to go back to Shirley. Shirley, employee well-being is a critical aspect of talent retention. How does Tire and Auto Service prioritize employee wellness, and what impact has it had on overall employee satisfaction and retention?
You for the question. Actually, at Coast Tire, again, it's a very personalized approach. We have, of course, an EAP program, an employee assistance program that's available to all of our staff. I have a very open door policy. I'm the type of HR person that when I go to a store, I like it when employees say, "Hey, can I talk to you before I leave?" rather than, "Oh my God, what's she doing here today?" Right? So we've developed this type of a culture that when they see me show up, it's usually a good thing. It's not a bad thing, right? So very, very open door. I like to get quick responses back to our candidates. And then when people are in their time of need, just to give some examples, and we would do this for any worker at Coast Hire, and some of these examples happen to be Canadians, but we had a worker whose child had to go to the IWK, so we would pay for hotels for the parents to stay down there, and we would help with travel, or if they needed money for parking or anything like that. So we had one of our managers come from Prince Edward Island one time for some testing and found out he had to have triple bypass surgery the next day, so we put his wife up in the hotel and things like that. So the people that, if I've always looked at it this way, if you care about, we care about the employees, but if you care about Coast Hire, you're going to see that in spades, because we want to take care of the people that care about our organization and that want to represent our organization well, because they're the ones, like, if you feel that you really are cared about, why would you want to leave? And again, there's certain things we can't do. We can't solve all of the world's problems, but we try little by little, just doing the small things that really matter to those individuals. It might be just having time off because they need to stay home with a sick parent, or I remember having a young student here through the Skills Launch program. He he needed to leave to go to the hospital so that he could translate for his parents. Right. So, he was afforded that time. I was introduced to Ramadan and learning about different things there, and trying to accommodate some of those things. And I think that's a big part of it, is that with Canadians, they need to be more curious. They need to ask more questions so that we can understand the differences within our cultures, because I learned so much from Aiden, and he learned so much from me when he was here as a student, because, I didn't realize that he wasn't allowed to leave his family home until he married. Like, that's not a Canadian custom here, but it's something that we learned. So I think that in order to help the well-being overall, you need to talk to these individuals as employees and make them members of your, I don't like to use the word family, but our Coast Hire team, because, again, if we're a team, we work together. And, we've actually, I was so proud of my group in Thornhill. We had a retirement, and we had a new employee who was a newcomer, and they had this great big meal and thing, and they posted it online, and they were all eating together and celebrating together, one leaving and one coming. And so I think that's really important. And I think the more events that they have like that, they really do come together as a group. So I think it's, if you're feeling isolated, that's when you're not feeling well. So hopefully it's that inclusive part, and again, we're all learning, and we're all going to fumble or make a mistake, but it's if you stop trying, then I think we fail.
That's awesome. No, certainly, it is always give and take, in my opinion as well. If you try to learn more about other people, they also want to learn more about you, and it is like building the proper connection, and then filling the missing dots then after. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing with such a beautiful example. Okay, I would like to go to Matt again. Matt, how do you ensure that the organizational culture aligns with the values and expectation of top talents? Can you provide some challenges faced and lesson learned while going through that process of organizational culture aligning with the values and expectation of talents?
Sure. So I just working with different organizations the past year, we learned that it's really important to ensure that there's alignment between the value and the expectations in terms of the team members and the company's culture and mission statements too. And a lot of this is being drawn around the company's work that's being done around diversity, equity, and inclusion. That brings really a perspective that's critical for creating an inclusive and equitable workplace for everyone, might be the Canadians or might be newcomers as well. And we advise companies in a number of ways to establish this. So first of all, for them to have a clear framework about the organization's commitment that they have to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So this can be just, it can be from the first point of contact that a potential team member has when they're researching the organization. It can be through the company's website or through the marketing materials, to see that, there is the values and the policies and the practices that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion are outlined and they're reflective of the work that's being done. Also, too, it's in terms of the work that managements do and executives within the organizations. We find that it's really important for them, to take a proactive role within the organization and to champion these initiatives in order to ensure that all the team members are being included and they're given the opportunity to grow accordingly to the goals that they set for themselves too. And also, too, it's finding that. By demonstrating this commitment to DEI through actions, it's much more important, that and it really creates an impact throughout the team too. Also, too, we looked at the way that the recruitment process is being done. So starting into the early stages of the talent attraction, we talk about retention. Usually we think about it as being coming in towards the end. It's like not letting someone go and still keeping them with the company. But retention comes from the beginning, comes from the first point of interaction that someone might have, might be with your organization as a customer, as a client, or it might be just when they're searching for a job, and getting that moment for them to see, like, I want to work here. I see myself working for this organization. And creating that connection, I think it's really important in order to communicate the work that's being done. And ongoing education that's it's being happening and training within the organization is really important, and you've seen it, like, it's been such well outlined. So surely the work that you're doing, by ensuring that the team members can have access to education and supporting them. And also, Aman, too, you're mentioning all the work that you're doing together with Ignite, and you're being there at the forefront of it. It's really important for this to happen, and really provides employees with a sense of belonging to that organization, and really shows that there is an inclusive place for them, and it definitely can they see themselves in the opportunities that are being created.
Thank you so much, Matt. I also feel the same, because there are so many things. As Canada is a diverse country, people from different places, different religion come here, and if they don't feel that they are welcomed, or if they are not getting that satisfaction in working in certain organization, that can be a biggest problem. It doesn't seem as a big problem at first, but going further it can be, and it may be the reason that the employee leave at the end. So thank you so much for sharing all those information, as well as all those examples, like how we can do it and everything. Okay, I would like to go back to Muriel. Muriel, given the global talent pool, how does Comfort Life Network nursing homes approach talent retention with an international perspective? Are there specific cross-border challenges you have navigated successfully? Muriel, you are mute.
That's me. My phone was ringing. Sorry. So yeah, it always goes back to the cross-border challenges that we need, and obstacles we need to overcome. It always goes back to how do we hire people? What do we tell them? What kind of information are we giving them? Are we giving them the truth about the job, but also what they can do once they're here, the advancement and who they're going to become? But are we giving them enough information about the implicit, about everything we live on a daily basis and we don't think about because it's just our lives? But maybe in their country or in their culture, it's not the way it goes. So the more prepared they are, and it could be anything, could be words. I mean, we are Francophones, but Francophones all over the world have different slangs, different accents, sometimes different ways to say things, same as in English. I always say that as a Canadian, go to Scotland and listen to them, and you're kind of, wow, where am I? And it's called English. So the more we give them, about their family, about the schools, about what we expect from them, precisely, because they have a dream, they come here, they want to give it all to you. I mean, it takes a long time. So it's up to us also not to wait all the time. Oh, they have to adapt. They they want to do that for sure. Otherwise, they don't make that big step. But we have to give them precise information onto what we expect from them. And it includes the task, the attitude, the culture, the company culture, the way people react, the way people talk, the words they're going to use, which are different. Give them a lexic, personal and professional. I mean, we don't call the same things the same way in different countries. So the more prepared they are, and the more retention we have. We always play part in it because, of course, we are carrying them and helping them from beginning to end. But they need to be prepared. We need to be able to understand that it costs a lot of money to hire abroad for sure. But if we want them to come, we want them to stay. If we want them to stay, we have to commit. There's no other, and to treat them as humans. Yet they're employees, but they are people.
Are there any specific cross-border challenges you have navigated successfully? Like, is there the problem, and then after the challenges you have navigated successfully? Can you please provide some of the example? Because the immigrants are increasing day by day, and the government wants to work on it, but there seems a bit of gap in maintaining those kind of challenges and solving the problems. As you are already in the international recruitment, are there any problems and the challenges you have navigated successfully?
Well, it's always about, always the same thing. Driving license according to the country that people are coming from. So we're able to show them the path, and actually we were able to find an insurance company that was able to provide them with lower cost insurance. If anybody knows about that, some countries can exchange their driving license, some countries can't. Don't ask me why, it's just the way it is in New Brunswick. So it means that the countries that cannot do it, in the rural areas specifically, are going to have a big challenge because they have to go through the full process again. We were able also to, in order to compensate a little bit of that, to buy a tricycle, because when you go grocery shopping and you don't have a car, if you rely on taxis and cabs, it's going to cost you a fortune that you cannot afford to spend. So just a tricycle that is there, you put your name, take the key, you do your shopping, it has a big basket in the front. So those are the kinds of things that we have to overcome. But more than that, it's always about qualifications that are not really recognized. Now we're able, for the first time 2 years ago, we were able to hire an accountant because it takes a lot of education from the leaders from the company, who was trained in Morocco, and she's doing really great, because at the end of the day, if you're trained in Morocco, you're trained in France, you're trained anywhere in Canada, accounting is still accounting. The core of the work is the same. You have little things that are completely different, but it's that. So I wouldn't say that with everything that's been put in place for nurses and we've overcome it, because unfortunately we have not, even if a lot of people think we have, because we were given a tool that does not work, and it's okay because everybody is learning, but we're trying hard to get involved into before the decision kind of process, like, okay, we're here, hey, maybe if we do this, and we've had people around for a long time, over 60% of our employees are foreigners, so, or Canadians or PR. I don't like the word foreigners, but they're newcomers. So yeah, those are very specific, but only for not only for our area. I mean, registration and qualifications and all of that. I'm dreaming of a day where somebody's gonna, wake up in the morning and say, okay, we have all those trades, all those jobs, all those qualifications, and this is what people have to do to be recognized, to it not go back 4 years to school, but maybe a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Like an engineer doesn't know anything. A civil engineer maybe doesn't know the snow, the cold, or whatever. He doesn't need to learn the full thing. He just needs to learn what he doesn't know. And if we get there, and I'm sure I've seen things change really fast. It's never fast enough for me, but that's me. But I really hope somebody, I know PEI has done it. And so I really hope that somebody's going to sit down and take a couple of months to just say, hey, this is how we do it.
Okay.
I'm hoping I answered your question.
I hope so. Thank you so much, Muriel. We have already reached at the end of the webinar. I just want to throw one question to all of you. Whoever wants to answer, you can come forward and answer it. What role does continuous learning and development play in your talent retention strategies?
Question for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, it plays a big part because again, where we are in a certified trade, we can't do mechanical work on a vehicle, for example, unless we have the right qualified people in place and the right qualified, licenses in place as well. So it is extremely important. And the other side of it too is that tires, people don't realize that tires are potential bombs. So they're very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing with them. So people kind of take them for granted, but they're the only thing between you and the vehicle that keeps you safe on the road, right? So we really go to great lengths to make sure that people are properly trained on tires. So again, just the amount of training that we have. And I think that people, they appreciate that because they want some acknowledgement for the skill sets that they have, right? I'm working with a group in Nova Scotia right now through the Automotive Sector Council where we have recognition of prior learning for a TMT, which is a tire maintenance technician. So that means even newcomers coming into Canada can actually take the test to see where they may actually pass it and do the hands-on and get the certification right away, which would help them get a job as well in Nova Scotia in that trade. But if there are gaps in the training, they can get recognition for what they have and then work with Nova Scotia Community College to fill that gap so they can get certified. But again, it's very entry level, and hopefully that'll advance them on to the certification of an automotive tech or a truck and transport tech or a heavy duty mechanic. So again, it's like an entry level, but it's getting some acknowledgement. So I'd love to see something like that in New Brunswick as well, because I think the recognition of prior learning is going to be essentially important, especially for newcomers coming in, because I agree, we shouldn't have doctors driving taxis. We shouldn't, you know what I mean? Like they really should be. And I think we need to think outside the box. I go back to my little story earlier of my student Aiden, who had to go to the hospital with his parents. I'm sure there are doctors from Syria that came here as refugees, and why are they not able to at least communicate with the Syrians? Because then that way, because it's very hard, especially like you say, it's not just terminology, but it's just that understanding between the different cultures and, not necessarily knowing the words. So I think we can do better, in that sense by utilizing some of these skill sets and knowledge and experience that is being wasted, really, in that sense. So I'd love to see some more work on that. And, I'd love to hear more about what PEI is doing as well too, Muriel, because I think that's the way we need to go.
Okay, thank you so much, Shirley. Do anyone wants to provide more light in this question?
Well, I do believe that it's essential because if we want to keep people, again, they're coming here with a dream, with expectations, with a lot of things that we need to help them understand and, land a little bit on reality, but they need to advance. They're not coming here to stay where they are if they didn't have if they had a prior higher education. They understand that there are many things they need to learn, but as an employer, and if we want retention, we need to bring them where they want to go. And we also need to bring them where they want to go because, again, we're not the only industry facing this, but a lot of people are going to retire, have retired, or are going to retire. And so it's very rewarding for us and for them to know that we can help them, get back to where they were or go even further. So it's a need. So it's a win-win kind of a situation. So we should all, put some effort into there. It's important.
Thank you so much, Muriel. It is time to wrap this webinar. We are almost at the end. So do anyone wants to add anything regarding any type of things that is very important for the retention related stuffs? If I haven't touched any question related to that and you want to add up to that, you are please free to add anything you want to add in this way.
I would just add one little thing, and then I'll let you. I'll let you speak. It's just that I always think about, as employers, hiring people, because to me they're people. Just think about how you would feel when you end up, talking to an employee or looking at a situation. Look at yourself for 5 minutes, and you're moving out in another province. Mm-hmm. Everything you're going to need to figure out, your kids, it's you we're talking about, your family. And then imagine they're coming from another country. And that will make a lot of sense in giving them the appropriate support, help, and also challenges, because we're employers, but, think about that when you get to that point, because it makes a lot of sense to me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Muriel. Anyone wants to add anything? We have
Everyone.
Okay. So since this topic was kind of microscopic, like we were talking about our own organizations, but Ignite as an organization, we are into attraction, retaining people in the community. So just wanted to share some data regarding how, as an organization, we have been able to retain people in our community. So to give you a figure on a broad perspective, there were around 4,500 immigrants in Fredericton in 2001, making around 5.5% of the population, which doubled to 9,500 people in 2021, making 9% of the population. Mm-hmm. And the retention rate has been around 70%. So as an organization, we feel very good that we have been able to retain people in this province. It's very natural for people to gain PR and move to greener pastures and greener provinces where there is less snow. So, but we have been able to retain people, and I think I wanted to conclude it by sharing some facts regarding that. Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Matt.
Sure. I was going to say that, probably we're all familiar with this image that's been around LinkedIn for some time now that says, what happens if we invest in people and they leave? And, but what happens if we invest in people and, they decide to stay? So it's really important for us as employers to realize that, the job descriptions that, we do hire someone and bringing them on board, those job descriptions, those jobs, they do change. We're seeing unprecedented change into the labor market, into workforce development, that, a job that, might have had a description as being set, for like 10, 15 years, it has changed over the last few years because of automation and also because of advancements of AI. So it's really important for us to, as employers, to understand that, how can we be there to support our team members in order to ensure to bring them up to speed for this, so they can, first of all, they can do their job well, and they can feel themselves, they can be qualified for the roles that they're doing. And to Muriel's point, we have to take a moment, to be grateful that, we live in such a peaceful country, that, we are receiving so many newcomers here, that, it can be the other way around. It can be us that we're packing our life in a few suitcases and have to start all over again, halfway around the world, in a place that we don't speak the language, and we're in a place that, the weather is very adverse, and, we have to start, like, in our education, our all work experience has to start and be recognized all over again. So for a moment, even if we don't have that immigrant experience, just understanding that, we're also connecting right now into this world, and the work that we're doing through retention and through employer engagement, it's really important into supporting, building a community just in New Brunswick, Atlantic Canada, as well as in Canada as well.
I just got one last thing that that we try to do as well on the retention part, and that is to give them a full hiring package with lots of information. You know, the more information that they have about the company, about the rules, about, you know, their rights, all of that stuff, I find is extremely helpful as well, because again, you want them to be informed and not feeling lost.
Thank you so much, Shirley, and thank you so much, everyone. It is 3:59 and we are almost at the end. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for accepting my invitation for the webinar. It is really great of you that you provided your valuable time and discuss about the retention related stuffs. Thank you so much, everyone.
Welcome.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Christy.
Thank you.
Nice meeting everybody. Bye.
Thank you,
Take
Great
care.
connecting with you.
for your moderation, and for all the panelists, and for our attendees as well, who joined us from across Canada to follow Unlocking the Secrets of Talent Retention, a game changer for business excellence, and see what approaches, solutions, and efforts the employers that our panelists were coming today from are doing to retain the international talent they have, to help them stay in their jobs and grow in their jobs. This webinar was in collaboration with the New Brunswick Multicultural Council, and it was part of the Employer Perspectives webinar series brought to you by the Immigrant Employment Councils of Canada and New Canadians TV Network. You can learn more about the Immigrant Employment Councils of Canada on their website, iecc.network, and you can learn more about New Canadians and also watch our programming in Canada on Omni Television every week, and anywhere in the world and anytime on our website, newcanadians.tv, or our YouTube channel. If you want to learn more about upcoming events, whether through this series, Employer Perspectives, or other events that we are organizing, please follow us on our social channels or join our mailing list so that you learn and you can benefit from all the insights, experience, tips, advice, and experiences that our panelists usually share in the discussions. So thank you once again, and see you in another webinar as part of the Employer Perspective series soon.